A very good morning to all our viewers who've tuned in bright and early after that little break that we had. You're watching a Newspresso that is live here on Moneycontrol with me, Stacy Pereira. And as the drill goes, in the next few minutes, we're going to be giving you a lowdown of all the top stories from across the globe, insights into India, and also the latest trends that are doing the rounds, be it on social media or otherwise, which will give you that kickstart to your day, keeping you ahead and informed of the others. Let's get straight to it and get you all that we're getting from our global dispatch this morning. Well, let's take you through first Wall Street, where we did see the main indices there dropping on Tuesday night. The Nasdaq as well as the S&P 500 hitting their lowest in over 3 weeks, as the treasury yields also rose ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy meeting outcome, which is due later today. The Dow Jones also slipped about 100 odd points. The central bank now is where the focus is, which is expected to hold those benchmark interest rates to the current rate of 5.25 to about 5.5% range as of Wednesday. This because the core inflation has in fact crawled toward what is Fed's target of 2%, and nowhere close to that really. Now, if you look at stock-specific action moves, we saw Disney, those shares slide more than about 3% after it announced its plans to nearly double its investment in its cruise and parks business. You can also talk about a grocery delivery company, Instacart, which debuted on Nasdaq, climbing more than 12% after making its market debut there. On that tech-heavy Nasdaq, the opening price definitely lifted the valuations of the company to about $14 billion from the earlier $10 billion that it was valued at. The stock listed at $42 a piece. So a lot of interest that we're seeing even in the primary markets back in the US. Let's also look at the European markets, where those ones too dipped on Tuesday as investors are gearing up now for decisions from the various central banks that will come out through the week. The Pan-European Stock 600 index closed about 0.12% lower, with sectors oscillating between a positive and negative territory. If you look at the stocks which were in action, retail stocks were the biggest losers, down by about 1.6%, whereas it was banks and oil and gas stocks which were up by more than 1%. Now, if you look at more specifically what stocks really moved the indices, well, it was Bilderberg, which soared more than 7% after Jefferies upgraded that Swedish paper stock to a buy rating. And at the bottom of the back of the stock 600, we saw German material manufacturer Kion, which was down by about 4%, as well as Kingfisher, which fell by about 5% after the company cut its annual profit outlook. And a check on how markets in the Asia-Pacific region are trading this Wednesday morning. Well, most indices are buckling under pressure, we could say, as investors were actually anticipating that China would go ahead and cut its 1-year and 5-year loan prime rates, or LPR. However, the PBOC has left both those rates unchanged at 3.45% and 4.2% respectively. Now, if you look at the indices, Japan's Nikkei 225 was trading just marginally higher on open after its trade deficit has now narrowed by 2/3 on a year-on-year basis for the month of August, while imports and exports both recorded a small fall than what was expected. If you look at Australia as well as South Korea, both those indices are also trading on quite a flat line. Hong Kong's Hang Seng has also slumped by about 0.26% after that LPR announcement, whereas mainland Chinese markets, those are also trading in negative territory. If you look back home, GIFT Nifty is indicating a negative start for the Indian indices as well. And a quick check on commodities in that space, where we're seeing oil prices have now risen for the 4th straight session on the back of that weak shale output in the United States. The data, along with extended production cuts from Russia and Saudi Arabia, have spurred market concerns of a supply deficit going ahead. Prices have gained for 3 consecutive weeks now and are on and around a 10-month high for both the benchmark as well as Brent crude as well as the WTI indices. And moving on to the geopolitical developments that we've been seeing. Well, you all know that it's almost more than a year now for that Russia and Ukraine war that has been ongoing. And just after that war began, we did see Ukraine drag Russia to the to present its case in front of the United Nations highest court of law. Now, ever since those hearings have begun in the International Court of Justice over that ongoing genocide, yesterday we saw the Ukrainian side place their arguments before the court, saying that Russia can't justify the war by invoking a terrible lie by claiming that it has started this war in order to stop a genocide. Now, Ukrainian's representative Anton Kornitev has gone ahead and asked Russia to pay reparations for invading Ukraine on this false pretext. Meanwhile, Russia has gone on to urge the ICJ that they need to throw out this case and dismiss it outrightly, calling Kyiv's legal arguments hopelessly flawed. And well, as we return from this trading holiday that we saw, let me take you a quick recap of where we left off on the Lal Street on Monday, where we did see the Indian equity markets, getting through some profit booking really after rallying consistently since the start of September to hit those historic highs that it did back on Friday. Now, the Nifty did slip below that 20,150 levels on Monday, whereas the Sensex also shed about 242 odd points. The broader indices as well saw some bit of profit taking, but it was the Nifty PSU index which is really the clear outperformer, rallying more than 3% on Monday. Now, among the stocks that you need to be watching out for or keeping on your radar today, look out for Tata Motors, as it will be hiking the prices of its commercial vehicles by up to 3% starting October 1st. So they've come out with this notification, and that's what you're going to see, some kind of movement there. Also look out for Blue Star, as it will be launching its QIB and looking to raise about 1,000 crore rupees through this QIB route, whereas Biocon has also would be a buzz due to some top leadership changes that are going to be taking place. And of course, the new kid on the block, we're going to see RR Cables, which will be making its debut on the Broadstairs today, and also becomes the first company to list in that T+2 timeline for IPOs after its IPO closed. Now, the race to acquire stake and also take over Cipla is really what is heating up in the corporate front, or in the M&A scene, we could say. According to reports, Torrent Pharmaceuticals is in advanced talks now with CVC Capital Partners as well as other PEs to form a consortium to raise a significant amount to the tune of $1.2 to $1.5 billion in order to fund this buyout. Now, going by the reports, this acquisition financing package could come or become one of the largest in recent times, and may be pegged the deal at about 60,000 crore rupees, or approximately $7 billion. Now, earlier we had reported and also mentioned that Torrent had approached various other private equity funds, including Bain Capital, for this potential participation in this consortium. The company is also in discussion with Brookfield to raise a mezzanine debt to the range of $1 to $1.2 billion. And the exact amount, though, has not yet been finalized of what they plan to raise. We are being told that Torrent is actively exploring various avenues to secure funds, as well as in order to aim to conclude the process of this by the end of September, before they actually go ahead and make a formal offer for the acquisition. And well, that much awaited Jio Air Fiber was officially launched yesterday. And remember, Jio Air Fiber, it promises that accessibility to fiber-like ultra high-speed internet. And this was really announced at that 45th AGM that we saw, where Mukesh Ambani went on to say that Jio Air Fiber would be launched on Ganesha Chaturthi, and that's what we saw. Now, what it really plans to do is hope to connect any home and office and give it that gigabyte speed type of internet. Now, what really sets Air Fiber apart is the fact that it works just on radio-based solution, as well as that it's wireless. Now, in the initial stage, we're being told that the services will be live in 8 cities, including Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, whereas users will be able to access this service for a minimum payment of just 599 rupees, and the maximum can go up to 3,999 rupees. And while we're talking about Reliance, let me also tell you a little bit more, because we are getting to hear that they are in talks with Disney Hotstar, which is planning to sell its India streaming business. Now, as per reports, Disney Hotstar is considering Reliance as a buyer, and Disney has been weighing strategic options for the business, including an outright sale or perhaps just setting up a JV in which Reliance could be a part of. Now to news that is creating quite a stir in the diplomatic circles as India and Canada's standoff really continues to intensify over the last few days. Now, it all started after Canada accused the Indian government of being involved in the killing of the Khalistani extremist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. This happened back in June, and it was followed by New Delhi now outrightly dismissing these allegations as absurd and also asking the Trudeau-led government to crack down on any anti-India elements that are operating in its soil. Now, Canada's assertion also led to the expulsion of an Indian intelligence official from Canada, as well as India going ahead and reciprocating that act by also expelling a Canadian diplomat and asking him to leave New Delhi within the next 5 days. Trudeau went on to tell reporters that Canada was not looking to provoke or escalate the matter, but Indian government needs to take the appropriate steps. However, in the latest development, we have seen that Canada has updated its travel advisory, asking citizens to avoid all travel to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir due to unpredictable security situations. So we are going to see how this really plays out. We've seen both the parties, both the sides, India and Canada, outrightly come out and speak, either alleging or also dismissing these claims. So this is really going to be a highlight, especially in the diplomatic front. And talking more about politics, well, the Parliament's special session, which began on Monday, and really operations shifting to that new Parliament building yesterday. And in fact, the first bill that got introduced in the new Parliament building by Prime Minister Modi himself was the long-awaited Women's Reservation Bill. And the bill is going to be called Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, I beg your pardon, and will provide a one-third reservation to women in the Lok Sabha as well as the state assemblies. However, it will not be implemented in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls and can only come into effect after a delimitation, which is based on census, which will be concluding after the bill has been passed. Now remember, the next delimitation exercise will only happen after the 2026, and which is why you're not going to see any changes in the upcoming Lok Sabha election. The bill, however, has sparked quite a battle and debate on who really should be taking this political credit for it. The Congress and the BJP both have been claiming credit for having made this move. Let's listen to some of those political reactions that we saw soon after the bill was tabled.
Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम, इसके माध्यम से हमारा लोकतंत्र और मजबूत होगा.
The women reservation bill is already passed in 2010, लेकिन इसको बाधा आ गई तो उसमें वही रुक गया.
Well, let's move on and tell you what's really doing a buzz on social media and otherwise. And it seems like it's quite a busy week for the world's richest man, Elon Musk. Well, he has been holding a string of meetings with different world leaders in the past few days. And firstly, to start off on Monday, we saw Musk, who took to Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as well as his wife, and took them on a tour of the Tesla factory in Fremont, California. Now, Israel's Prime Minister as well as his wife were given a tour of the production as well as assembly line of the electric vehicles, and not only that, they also got a chance to get a personalized test drive of the groundbreaking Cybertruck car, which is yet to be launched. Now, the two also sat down for a one-on-one conversation, during which Musk said that he was also considering charging users a small monthly fee for using the social media site. And this not just for the blue tick or the subscribers, but for everyone across the platform, adding that the paid access could help reduce bots as well as fake accounts from the platform. platform. Now, in another meeting, we also saw Elon Musk meet with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan at the Turkish House in New York. And Erdogan, remember, is in the U.S. to attend the UN General Assembly right now. And while Musk was accompanied for this meeting with his 4-year-old son, X. Now, they did share a weird, awkward moment, one would say, when Erdogan went on to ask Musk, and I quote, "Where is your wife?" To which Musk replied, "Oh, she is in San Francisco and we are separated now. That's why I take care of my son." Now, Erdogan and Musk has also gone on to ask Musk to set up a Tesla factory in Turkey and also invited Musk to attend the Turkish Aerospace and Technology Festival called a Technofest at the end of September. And well, it's been almost a week since that Apple grand iPhone 15 was launched, but it looks like the internet is still not ready to stop talking about that event and what really went down in that Wanderlust event that took place on September 14. Now, much of the talk around that event has really highlighted Apple's efforts towards becoming carbon neutral, as well as how Apple has a zero carbon impact on the environment, while they go ahead and do the no plastic packaging, which is mandated, and it's true for the Apple products. The organizers for the event seem to have really missed the memo, because what is really now being showcased is that Apple is what is getting Apple trolled, especially on the internet for now. Many people have pointed out how Apple has made a big claim about working towards environmental benefits, but is still using plastic to wrap its cookies that were given to attendees of the event. Now, one of the users tweeted that from Apple's point of view, our best cookies yet, we used all natural flour, butter, as well as eggs, but the plastic wrapper is from the leftover from an unsold iPhone. Clearly, really making that sarcastic note there. Many of them have really called out the hypocrisy on the company's part this time around. And yesterday, we all celebrated Ganesha Chaturthi, really kicking off those celebrations actually. And we all know pandal decorations have always been intricately planned and designed, and what really goes behind it. Well, an element of surprise was among the decorations that we got to see a model of a Chandrayaan 3, which the rocket which was placed near the Ganesha idol. This in Keelthathalai in Tamil Nadu, in which it's really grabbing all those eyeballs, one could say. Now, the local designer has been, whose name is Shanmugam, has designed this rocket in honor of that Chandrayaan 3, a remarkable historic moon mission that we saw. And while this happened in Chennai, we also saw other really interesting models like this one in Bengaluru, where the Ganpati temple, in fact, all of it was adorned in its premises with the Indian currency notes as well as coins. Now, these notes and coins were said to be worth about 2.5 crore rupees in total. Well, that's for the Ganesha Chaturthi celebrations. Do tell us and share in the comments section of how you really marked this auspicious day and how it went for you. But let me then bring you up to speed with all that you need to be looking out for today. Of course, we will be keeping our eyes out for the FOMC interest rate decision. This is going to be that big one that could really change the game for markets, be it globally and even here in India. The announcement will happen around 11:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and we are expecting Fed Chair Jerome Powell to address a press conference around 12 a.m. So we will be getting you those updates early tomorrow morning. And of course, like we also mentioned about the special session of Parliament, the Women's Reservation Bill, which was introduced, will today see discussions, and we are likely to hear from Sonia Gandhi, Mahua Moitra, as well as Smriti Irani, who are expected to speak on the bill. So a lot of action even expected on that front. Well, with that, it's a wrap, and hope this dose of Newspresso was useful, informative, and gives you that kickstart to your day. But don't forget to come back here tomorrow, same place, same time, for your fresh shot of Newspresso. From all of us who put this show together, thanks so much for tuning in.